My friend, I want you to hear this deep within your spirit. God is saying, your period of drought is over. For too long, you've walked through seasons where nothing seemed to grow, where every effort ended in disappointment, where the heavens felt silent, and your prayers seemed to fall back to the ground unanswered. But tonight, God is whispering into your heart, I have seen your tears. I have heard your cries, and I am about to pour rain on the dry places of your life. You may have felt forgotten, abandoned, or unseen, but God has been watching all along. He has been preparing the clouds. He has been working beneath the surface while you've been waiting above it. The same God who brings life to the desert is now declaring that your season of drought has come to an end. There comes a point in every life when the silence of waiting becomes almost unbearable. You've prayed and waited. You've worked and waited. You've believed and waited, and all you saw was dust. You looked at others and wondered why their fields were flourishing while yours lay barren. You questioned if maybe you did something wrong, if maybe God had turned His face away from you. But hear me, God never left you. That dry season was not punishment. It was preparation. God was building something inside you that could only grow in the drought. Faith that endures, strength that doesn't break, and hope that refuses to die. You see, the drought didn't destroy you. It defined you. It stripped away what you didn't need and taught you how to depend on what you could not see. When the ground is dry and the sky is empty, that's when you truly learn who God is. You learn that He's not only the God of rain, but also the God of waiting. He is the God who uses droughts to show you that your source was never the water. It was always Him. He allows seasons of dryness to make you turn from the wells that can't satisfy to draw your eyes back to Him, the only true source of life. So if you've been in a place where the streams ran dry, don't lose heart. God didn't abandon you in the drought. He anchored you. You're stronger now because of what you've been through. You've learned how to pray with depth, how to hope without sight, and how to trust without evidence. God is saying, you've been faithful in the drought. Now prepare for the rain. The drought is breaking. You may not see the full storm yet, but there's a shift in the air. The same God who allowed the ground to harden is now softening it with His mercy. The same God who watched you struggle is now about to let you see His abundance. But understand this, God never ends a drought without purpose. When He brings rain, He expects a harvest. That means this new season isn't just about refreshing. It's about responsibility. You endured the drought so that when the rain comes, you'll know how to handle it. You'll know the value of what's being given. You'll no longer waste blessings because you've learned the cost of waiting. There's a holy timing to everything God does. The drought had its purpose, and the rain has its reason. God is not late. He's precise. When He says your period of drought is over, He's not speaking empty words. He's releasing divine timing into your life. It's as though the heavens have been holding back a blessing that has your name on it. And now God is commanding it to be released. You're about to see things that were delayed suddenly come together. Doors that refused to open will now swing wide. The people who turned away will no longer have power over your peace. God is about to prove that His word cannot return void. For some of you, the drought wasn't only financial. It was emotional. You've been drained, tired of giving your best and seeing little in return. You've carried burdens in silence, pretending to be strong while your spirit cried for relief. But God saw that. He saw the nights when you couldn't sleep, the moments when you felt your prayers were hitting a wall. And He says, your drought of peace is over. I'm restoring your soul. You will feel a stillness where there used to be chaos, a calmness where there used to be fear. The drought made you desperate, and that desperation became your altar. You prayed not for things, but for God Himself, and that is why the rain is now on its way. For others, the drought has been in your relationships. You've been surrounded by people, yet felt completely alone. You've watched connections dry up, friendships fade, and doors close. But listen, God sometimes has to clear the field before He can plant new seeds. Not everyone can go where you're going. Some people were only meant to be part of your planting season, not your harvest. The loneliness you felt wasn't abandonment. It was protection. God was isolating you so He could cultivate you. He was pruning your circle so your roots could go deeper in Him. And now that He has finished the work in private, He's about to bring divine connections that water your purpose instead of draining it. When God says your drought is over, He means the heavens are opening in more ways than one. Not just with provision, but with clarity. Some of you have been praying for direction, asking God to show you what's next. But He couldn't reveal it while you were still holding on to yesterday. The drought taught you what doesn't work. And that's how God prepares you for what will. You see, the wilderness has a way of sharpening your hearing. It makes you sensitive to the slightest whisper from above. So now, as the rain begins to fall, you'll recognize God's voice with new clarity. You'll walk in decisions that once confused you with a peace that can't be shaken. Think about it. Even the greatest men and women who ever walked with God faced seasons of drought. They all had to walk through silence before seeing abundance. The drought humbles the soul and reminds us that every blessing comes from God's hand, not our effort. And when that understanding takes root, God knows you're ready for rain, because now you won't worship the blessing. You'll worship the giver. You won't depend on the abundance. You'll depend on the one who provided it. God never wastes a drought. Every tear, every struggle, every unanswered prayer was part of His plan to bring you to this moment. I want you to imagine a field that has been dry for years. The soil looks cracked, the plants are gone, and the earth seems lifeless. But when rain finally comes, something miraculous happens. The ground that looked dead suddenly starts to awaken. Seeds that were buried long ago begin to push through the soil. That's your life right now. God is sending rain to the buried dreams, the forgotten hopes, the prayers you stopped praying. You thought they were dead, but they were only dormant. The drought couldn't kill what God planted. It could only delay it. And now, as the rain falls, those seeds are coming alive. Everything God promised is still possible. You see, the most dangerous thing the drought tried to take from you was not your possessions or your peace. It was your expectation. Because when expectation dies, faith becomes hollow. But God is reviving your expectation. He's stirring something within you that says, I still believe. He's awakening hope again, reminding you that He's not finished. The same God who sustained you in lack will now surprise you with abundance. You will not just survive, you will thrive. The drought made you grateful for little. And now that the rain is coming, you'll be faithful with much. There's a beautiful promise in the pattern of God. After every drought comes a double portion. He doesn't just restore what was lost. He multiplies it. When God ends a drought, He makes up for lost time. You may have spent years waiting, but God can redeem in one moment what you thought was gone forever. That's what He's about to do in your life. He's not only bringing water to your dry places, He's making rivers in the desert. He's creating opportunities where there were none, bringing favor that doesn't make sense and positioning you in places you never thought you'd stand. But I must tell you this truth. You must be ready for the rain. When God ends a drought, He looks for those who are prepared to receive. If you have faith for the rain, you must also have capacity for the harvest. That means letting go of bitterness, resentment, and fear. You can't hold yesterday's disappointment and today's blessing in the same hand. You have to release what dried you out so you can receive what will fill you up. God is saying, I'm pouring new rain, but I need new vessels. This is your moment to lift your hands and say, God, I'm ready. Pour it out on me. Sometimes before the rain comes, God tests your endurance. He lets you stand in the drought just long enough to prove your faith. He watches if you'll keep believing when nothing is changing. He observes if you'll still praise when the sky remains empty. Because true faith is not proven in abundance. It's proven in the absence of it. The drought was your proving ground, and you passed the test. That's why the rain is on its way. You didn't give up. You didn't walk away. You kept trusting. You kept praying. You kept showing up even when you were tired. And now God is saying, I have seen your faithfulness and I will reward it. This is more than a change in your circumstances. It's a shift in your spirit. The drought is over because God has declared it so. The same voice that spoke light into darkness is speaking restoration over your life. When God says, let there be rain, nothing can stop it. No delay, no opposition, no obstacle can prevent what God has ordained. You are stepping into a divine turnaround where everything that was dry and barren will flourish again. The drought was real, but it wasn't final. God always has the last word, and His word for you is overflow. Do not despise the small clouds. Sometimes before the storm, all you'll see is a tiny sign, a small shift, a single opportunity, a gentle whisper. But that small cloud carries a great promise. It may look insignificant, but it's a sign that the rain is on the horizon. Don't dismiss the beginnings of what God is doing. Celebrate them. Nurture them. Speak life over them. Because that little sign you see now is the seed of a great downpour. God often starts small to test your gratitude. And when you show thankfulness for the little, He trusts you with the abundance. Now, I want you to think about the things you gave up on, the dreams you buried, the opportunities you lost. God is not finished with them. He is the master of resurrection. He can breathe life into what others call dead. You thought the drought destroyed your purpose, but it actually clarified it. You now know who you are, and more importantly, who God is. That understanding is the foundation upon which He will build your new season. You will look back and realize that everything you lost was making room for what God was about to give. And when the rain comes, and it will, you will not just feel relief. You will feel renewal. You will feel alive in ways you haven't in years. Your joy will return. Your creativity will flow, and your confidence will rise. Because when God restores, He restores completely. He doesn't patch up the old. He brings something entirely new. The rain of this new season will wash away the dust of disappointment and water the soil of destiny. You will see beauty where there was once barrenness. You will laugh again. You will dream again. So stand tall. Lift your eyes. The clouds are forming. The drought is ending. God is saying, I am about to do a new thing. You have cried enough tears. You have worried enough nights. You have waited long enough. The time has come for the rain. Believe it, receive it, and prepare for it. Because when God sends rain, it comes suddenly. You might go to bed in drought and wake up in abundance. You might spend years in silence and then hear one word from God that changes everything. That's the power of divine timing. That's the power of God's promise. You are standing on the edge of transformation. Everything you went through was leading you here to the moment when the heavens open and favor pours down. The dry season was only the backdrop for the miracle God is about to perform. So don't let fear make you doubt what you've prayed for. The draw is over. The storm of blessing is on its way. The ground that rejected you will now receive you. The same place where you failed will now be the place where you flourish. Because when God declares the draw over, even the desert blooms. And now, as you step into this new season, remember who carried you through the last one. Remember that it was God who sustained you when nothing else could. Let your gratitude rise like incense to the heavens. Let your faith stand like a banner in the wind. For the God who ended your drought will keep your land fruitful. He will guard what He's given, and He will multiply what He's restored. You will not go back to emptiness because you've learned to draw from the eternal well. The drought was your teacher, but the rain will be your testimony. You will tell others that when everything seemed dry, God sent water. When everyone walked away, God stayed. When you had nothing left, God became your everything. And now, as you walk into the overflow, never forget that it was His mercy that carried you from drought to deliverance. Your period of drought is over. God is speaking abundance. God is commanding restoration. God is sending rain. Believe it with all your heart, because the clouds are gathering. The wind is shifting and your dry season is breaking. Even now, there is a moment in every believer's life when God looks down and says, enough. Enough delay. Enough dryness. Enough wandering. That word is what breaks the drought. And when God says enough, everything changes in an instant. The same land that once resisted growth suddenly bursts with life. The same doors that were locked tight swing open with ease. God speaks and creation responds. That is what's happening in your life right now. God is speaking over your struggle enough, over your lack enough, over your sleepless nights. When the Creator declares that your drought is over, no power on earth can stop the rain. You see, a drought is not only about the absence of water, it's about the testing of your roots. When the rain stops, the shallow roots wither, but the deep roots survive. That's what God was doing in your life. He was deepening your roots. He was teaching you to draw from Him, not from circumstances, not from people, not from fleeting comforts. The drought stripped you of false sources so you could find the true source. And now that your roots have gone deep, you're ready for rain that will last. Because when God sends rain to shallow roots, it washes them away. But when He sends rain to deep roots, it multiplies their fruit. You've been buried, but now you'll be seen. You've been hidden, but now you'll be revealed. The rain that's coming isn't ordinary. It's not a drizzle of relief. It's a flood of restoration. God is about to restore things in your life that you didn't even know were broken. He's going to redeem time you thought was wasted, dreams you thought were over, and opportunities you thought were gone forever. You thought the drought was a curse, but it was a setup for divine recovery. Every moment of loss was a seed for the abundance that's on the way. The same God who allowed the emptiness will now overflow your cup. The drought took what was temporary, but the rain will bring what is eternal. I tell you this with conviction. When God moves to end a drought, He doesn't simply bring back what you lost. He brings you to a higher level of dependence, awareness, and purpose. The rain that's coming isn't only to bless you, it's to commission you. God blesses with intention. He pours out so that you can pour into others. The drop made you understand the pain of lack, so that when the rain comes, you will use your abundance with compassion. You'll become a vessel of provision, a source of encouragement, a voice that tells others, hold on. The rain is coming. God doesn't end a drought just for your comfort. He ends it to make you a channel of His purpose. The rain will come suddenly, but its preparation takes time. That's why God allowed you to wait. Waiting seasons are not wasted seasons. Waiting teaches you how to handle the weight of blessing. You can't receive a flood if your heart is cracked with doubt and bitterness. That's why God healed you quietly before He blessed you publicly. He worked on your heart, strengthened your endurance, purified your motives, and now when the rain comes, you'll be ready. You won't misuse what God gives. You'll magnify it. You'll give Him glory through your fruit. There's a sound in the Spirit that always comes before the rain. It's the sound of surrender. The moment you stopped trying to control everything, the clouds began to gather. The moment you said, God, I trust you even if I don't understand, the wind began to shift. Your surrender was the signal heaven was waiting for. The drought ended not when your situation changed, but when your heart changed. God looks for surrendered hearts because those are the ones He can fill. He cannot pour new rain into a vessel full of self. He pours into emptiness. That's why the drought had to empty you. It had to break the illusion that you were in control. It had to show you that without God, even abundance is meaningless. Now, as the first drops begin to fall, let your faith rise higher than your fear. The same God who brought you through the drought will sustain you in the rain. Don't be afraid of success. Don't fear the flood of blessing. Some people grow comfortable in struggle because it feels familiar, but God is calling you into a new reality. He's saying you've been surviving long enough. Now I want you to live. The drought made you a survivor, but the rain will make you a steward. You're stepping from endurance into expansion. From barely enough to more than enough. From holding on to rising up. Do not let the memory of the drought limit your expectation for the rain. Sometimes after hardship, we lower our hopes to avoid disappointment. But God is saying, lift your eyes again. The drought is over. It's time to expect good things again. Expect progress. Expect healing. Expect favor. Expect the extraordinary. Faith doesn't deny the reality of the drought. It declares the certainty of the rain. You've walked through dry places with unwavering trust. Now, let that same trust receive the abundance that's coming. Look at the horizon of your life. Can you sense it? The atmosphere has shifted. You can feel the weight of God's promise in the air. You can almost smell the rain. What once was a desert is about to bloom. You've been through too much to quit now. The breakthrough is not in another season. It's in this one. The rain is not coming someday. It's beginning now, drop by drop in the unseen. Your responsibility is to believe before you see, to prepare before it arrives. Build the barns before the harvest. Dig the ditches before the flood. God always blesses the prepared. And when the rain falls, let it cleanse you. Let it wash away the dust of yesterday, the bitterness of brokenness, the weight of regret. God's rain doesn't just restore the land, It restores the soul. It softens what had grown hard. It renews what had gone cold. You will feel alive again. You will look at life with new eyes, with gratitude instead of grief, with faith instead of fear. Because once you've seen God and a drought, you never doubt His power again. Some of you are still standing between drought and rain, and you can't see which one is winning. The clouds look dark, but they're not clouds of judgment. They're clouds of mercy. Sometimes God's blessing looks stormy at first. Don't mistake turbulence for rejection. Rain doesn't come quietly. It comes with thunder. And the thunder you hear in your life right now is just the sound of heaven rearranging things for your favor. God is breaking barriers, shaking foundations, and making room for the outpouring that's about to come. When the rain falls, you'll notice that not everyone celebrates it. There will be people who preferred your drought because your lack made them feel secure. But let them go. Don't apologize for your blessing. Don't shrink to make others comfortable. God didn't bring you this far to hide you again. He's putting you on display so others can see what faith looks like when it endures. You are becoming a living testimony that God still answers, still provides, still turns deserts into gardens. And remember, rain has a sound, but it also has a scent. There's something about the fragrance of fresh rain that reminds the soul that life is returning. That's what's about to happen in your life. The fragrance of new beginnings will surround you. Everywhere you go, people will notice the freshness of your spirit. You'll speak differently. You'll walk differently. You'll carry the peace of someone who knows that God has done what He promised. So guard this rain, protect it with your humility. Don't forget who brought it. Don't let pride take root where gratitude should grow. Stay close to God in abundance, just as you did in lack. Keep your heart soft, your hands open, and your spirit surrendered. The rain is not just for you. It's for generations to come. The faith you showed in the drought will inspire those who face their own. The way you trusted God when nothing made sense will become the story that helps someone else hold on. Let your life now be a river that flows from what you've received. Pour encouragement into others. Speak hope to the weary. Remind them that every draw ends. Tell them what God did for you, not as a boast, but as a beacon. Because someone out there is standing in their dry season, wondering if rain will ever come. And your testimony will be the proof that it does. And as the rain continues to fall, don't rush it. Let it soak deep. Let it reach the hidden places of your heart that you once kept closed. Let it nourish every seed of promise buried by fear. You've waited long enough for this, so don't take it lightly. Let gratitude flow like rivers. Every morning you wake, remember this is the season you prayed for. This is the moment you endured for. The drought is over, not because of chance, but because God has decreed it. You are stepping into days of fulfillment. You are walking into answered prayers. You are living in the reality of divine mercy. Every dry place in your life will now testify that God is faithful. Where there was emptiness, there will be overflow. Where there was silence, there will be songs. Where there was despair, there will be dancing. God has shifted your story. The same power that turned dust into creation is now turning your drought into abundance. The rain is not a symbol of survival. It's a declaration of victory. It announces that God's promise is greater than your pain, that His mercy is deeper than your mistakes, and that His timing is perfect even when you can't see it. You have endured the drought. Now embrace the rain. Walk boldly into this new season. Lift your head high. The God who spoke to the storm and the desert is now speaking over you. Your drought is over. Your new season has begun. So now, as this moment settles in your heart, I want you to look within and ask yourself, what will you do with the rain God is sending? Will you receive it with gratitude, or will you let it roll off hardened ground? Because the end of a drought is not just a change of weather. It's a call to transformation. When God ends a drought, He's not just blessing you. He's inviting you to rise higher, to live differently, to walk with Him more faithfully. The same God who watched you endure the wilderness is now trusting you with abundance. This is not a time to turn back. It's a time to dig deeper. The rain you've prayed for has come. Now God is asking you to plant what matters, to build what lasts, to live with purpose. This is your moment to return fully to God, not half-heartedly, not occasionally, but completely. Lay down your distractions, your grudges, your fears. Open your hands and say, God, all that I am is yours. Because when you align your heart with Him, you will never thirst again. The world can dry up around you, but inside you there will always be a river flowing, quiet, steady, and alive with His peace. God is not only ending the drought outside of you, He's ending the drought within you. The drought of doubt, the drought of fear, the drought of distance between you and Him. So let this be the turning point of your life. Let this be the day you decide that no matter what happens, you will walk with God in faith, not in fear, in surrender, not in struggle. Lift your eyes to the heavens and thank Him for every dry season that brought you here. Thank Him for the tears that became seeds of strength, for the silence that became the soil of faith. Every pain had a purpose, and that purpose was to draw you closer to the one who never left you. You have seen what it means to be sustained by God, and now you will see what it means to be surrounded by His favor. Let your heart rise with hope tonight. The same God who sends rain to the earth sends renewal to the soul. He can refresh what has grown weary, heal what has been wounded, and restore what has been lost. All He asks is your trust. Trust Him with what you can't control. Trust Him when you don't have the answers. Trust Him when the path is unclear. Because the one who brought the rain will also bring the harvest. The one who broke the drought will keep the rivers flowing. Now go in live as someone who believes that the drought is truly over. Speak words of faith. Act with courage. Love without fear. Let the world see the strength of a person who has walked through the desert and come out alive with faith. Let them see what it looks like when God transforms lack into abundance, sorrow into peace, waiting into wonder. You have endured the heat. Now walk in the rain. You have tasted emptiness. Now drink deeply of God's goodness. And as you leave this moment, carry this truth in your heart. God has not just given you rain. He has given you a new beginning. So step into it with confidence, gratitude, and faith. Live like someone who knows the drought has ended because it has. The clouds have opened. The rivers are flowing. The ground beneath your feet is alive again. God has spoken and His word stands forever. Your drought is over. Now live as proof that He is faithful.